This is the ugliest police lineup I've ever seen.
It's affection and a badge of honor if you can take the jokes and go home and tell your friends what I said.
Listen, he gives it as good as he takes it, and it's all out of love.
You think I like looking like if Amazon sold a Jeff Bezos blow-up doll? Look at me. I've learned to live with it, Bill. You think I don't know I don't look like Popeye if he only ate Popeyes?
The Roastmaster General, comedian Jeff Ross, and Philly, he's coming for you.
Philly, trust the process.
Today, I'm a little afraid. All right, so we've got...
I come in peace.
We've got comedian, multiple television shows. You wrote a book, at least one book. But the part that I'm afraid of is his known as the Roastmaster General, comedian Jeff Ross. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Bill. Don't worry. I'm off duty right now. You don't have to worry. I'm not going to make fun of you.
So
Although
I'm good.
I can't wait to get to Philly and make fun of the city that almost won the Super Bowl. That'll be fun.
Oh, man. It's too soon.
Too soon, Bill. Too soon.
Too soon. That's painful.
I love Philly. I love Philly so much. In honor of Will Smith, I'm going to wear my hair like Jada Pinkett for my shows.
Okay. See, I think with that one we can roll with.
All right.
It's good. A couple weeks ago, Michael Blackson was here in studio. And the first two things he said to me was, I'm a grown man with baby hair, because he said I had waves in my hair, and that I'm not dark enough to qualify for his dark skin committee that he's been out there doing. So he essentially disqualified me from the beginning. So it has me a little concerned about comedians. So
no, I only roast volunteers, Bill. If you don't volunteer, you don't get roasted. As a matter of fact, in my live shows in Philly, I will ask for volunteers at a certain point. So people have to stand up and go, roast me, Jeff, and I'll bring them on stage, line them up, and do a speed roast. But volunteers only, no bullying.
Are you ever surprised how willing people are to come up on stage and get clowned?
It blows my mind. And I get disabled people, pregnant people, couples. Like, you never know what you're going to get. And I love it. It's like an equal opportunity offense. And for some reason, people love being a center of attention, even when there's a target on their back.
But you made a point of saying no bullying to
Right.
the point where that sounds like a foundation of this. This is good-natured Roastmaster General.
Yes. I mean, it's affection and a badge of honor if you can take the jokes and go home and tell your friends what I said. I don't ever want to. I want to scratch the skin. I don't want to break the skin. I want everyone to leave my shows going, wow, that was fun.
This started as I was reading the becoming the Roastmaster. That was a survival technique in your family.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a Jersey guy. So we were like busting each other's chops all the time. And you had to be able to take a joke, dish it right back. So I grew up in a catering hall in Newark. So I learned how to take jokes at a pretty young age.
And even then, I mean, it was family. So that whole good-natured thing, family, you can go as far as you want oftentimes with family.
My family wasn't rich, so I was never worried about like getting written out of the will or anything like that. Like I had I could go full roast mode at any given time. And my family's kind of like that still, which is fun. And it did sort of give me thick skin for life, where, I dish it out, but I can take it. I'd be the biggest hypocrite in the world. People keep asking me if I'm going to roast Will Smith. I'm like, he's proven he can't take a joke.
I saw your post, but as somebody who's the Roastmaster General, your reaction to the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing was pretty strong.
Well, I'm a big fan of using your words, using your voice instead of your fists to settle beef. That's what roasting does. That's what comedy does. That's how, we should express ourselves through words. And I respect Chris so much and admire him as a comedian that I thought what he did was profound.
That whole situation that violated the code, so that hits you, in your post. that was almost personal, even though it didn't happen to you.
Well, I have alopecia, and I had never spoken about it on social media or even really to my friends much. I kind of was embarrassed by it and tried to cover it up and so on. And then when that moment happened, where she didn't laugh at that joke, I thought, oh wow, if she had laughed at that joke, she would have normalized this condition for so many people. And that's kind of what hurt, because my doctor had told me about a young girl who was getting bullied at school because they pulled her wig off, and she wound up committing suicide. And I thought, wow, if I could speak out and do more to show that life goes on, obviously, it's traumatic no matter what kind of person you are, to lose all your hair in just a matter of weeks. So I understand both sides of this one. But as a comedian, I'm always for taking the joke, laughing it off, and making everybody feel, taking the intensity out of the situation. Laughter's healing, Bill. If you can laugh, you heal. And when a big star like Jada laughs, she heals a lot of people.
So were you surprised by that joke? Did you get a chance to talk to him about it? Or from your perspective, that was a missed opportunity for Jada to normalize?
In that moment, but it worked out well for me, because I'm going to be starring in G.I. Jane 2. So there you go.
There you go.
It's all working out. Let's go. Sign me up for the Army.
Nice.
You think I like looking like if Amazon sold a Jeff Bezos blow-up doll? Look at me. I've learned to live with it, Bill. I've learned to live with it. You think I don't know I don't look like Popeye if he only ate Popeyes?
All right.
You think I don't know? I've learned to channel my inner rock star, Pitbull.
Right. There you go. See? Enjoy the process. Embrace it.
Exactly.
And roll with it.
Exactly. That's so Philly. Trust the process.
Coming up, Jeff Ross explains what it was like being a part of Chris Rock's historic special.
And it was wonderful watching him put this show together and tighten it up and, just keep working it until it was undeniable.
The live special, you were there, participated in it. What was that like?
I loved it. I thought what he did, wasn't just about, the Oscars. That special was a bigger piece about his kids and his mother and parenting, in my opinion.
But for your experience, just another show or part of history?
Oh no, part of history. I definitely felt it, because I have a lot of friends at Netflix and a lot of friends in Chris's orbit. So to see them all do a 145 city tour together, and it was wonderful watching him put this show together and tighten it up and, just keep working it until it was undeniable. And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it live. And I think that added an excitement to it, like a sporting event, like a main event in a boxing arena.
So that's a level of behind the scenes thing that most of us never see. So the whole comedian fraternity, you guys are even kind of sitting there cheering for each other or impressed by each other or learning from each other. It's not the well, in some cases, it's not the backstabbing that we often hear in the entertainment industry among that fraternity.
Not with comedians. Comedians are like a tribe. I feel like I'm a stand-up comic before I'm anything else in life. This is my tribe, and I do feel, comedians, we can be competitive and so on, but I think for the most part, we back each other up and we love each other, and we support each other when we're doing a big gig like that. Dave Chappelle flew out to be there for Chris. Now, these are two guys that could easily be competitive, but they're not. They come together like the Avengers when something big is happening.
We all saw the Chris Rock thing, but shortly thereafter, somebody came up on stage at the Dave Chappelle show. When you see all of this happening as the roast master, has comedy changed?
I was on stage that night with Dave Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl the night that that lunatic jumped out of the crowd, and I still have some, PTSD about that because, Chris getting slapped and Dave getting tackled over jokes. Yeah, that speaks to me. And yes, I have security at my shows. I don't want any, I talk smack for a living, so I have to be super conscious of all that. But as far as once I'm on stage in a venue like a comedy club, especially in Philly, where people have thick skin and life can be hard, it's cold, it can be a lonely big city. Like people need comedy. Comedy hasn't changed in a bad way. If anything, the world has gotten more violent. The world has gotten depressed. Everybody's talking about suicide and depression and divorce. And when we go on stage, they leave that behind and they come in and hopefully they feel a little lifted by the time the show's over.
Next on The Pulse, not many comedians go to prison and roast the inmates, but he did.
My first joke was where my murderer's at, and three guys in the front row raised their hand, and that's when I backed up. And I was like, whoa, couldn't put these guys in the back.
You look like you're one of those rare people who looks like a child and a child molester at the same time. You look like a sweet guy, like you wouldn't hurt anybody. You're not a violent guy.
I don't know about that.
Next.
I'm looking at all the things that you've done with roasting people, the places you've gone. You're a little nuts. You went and did a roast in the prison.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what? How did that happen?
I wanted to do something different. I wrote to hundreds, maybe 1,000 jails and prisons around America. This is a few years back. And only one said yes. Only one let me in, and that was Brazos County Jail down in Texas, where they take their law enforcement just as seriously as I take my roasting. And they let me come in and roast the women, and then I roasted the men in separate rooms. And it was a career highlight for me. Just learning about criminal justice reform, solitary confinement, the death penalty. It changed me. I learned a lot. It helped to humanize the incarcerated and also made people laugh.
So they were generally good sports. Like that was a highlight of your career, not a, I'm never doing that again.
Oh, I'm never doing that again. That was genuinely terrifying, especially because like most of those people are getting out now. It's been a few years. You got the white supremacists with the swastika tattoos and the gangbangers with the teardrops and there's a murderer, and it was intense. It was definitely intense. And to answer your question, yes, I would go back and do it again.
That was one of those old school Russell Simmons. Thank you, God bless, and good night. Now it's time for us to go. It's time to leave.
No, they wound up being a very, I don't say gracious, but raucous, fun crowd. And the guys went wild. I worked hard to create a stand-up act just for them, tailor-made for them in that jail in Texas.
Yeah, you're a little nuts. So
I'm a Newark boy, black belt. Come on, bring it.
Okay.
Bring it.
Okay. I used to work for a radio station, and the station went in and played inmates in softball. And that was one of those things where you're like, everybody's really cool, everybody's really nice, but you're about ready to go. Like it shows you, I'm not built for this. Like I'm gonna have to follow the law.
Oh, I did. I went in early. I ate with the people there, and I played basketball, interviewed everybody in the jail. By the time I shot the show, I knew all the guards and a lot of the incarcerated people too. My first joke was where my murderer is at, and 3 guys in the front row raised their hand, and that's when I backed up. And I was like, whoa, couldn't put these guys in the back.
See, that's the part where you're like, maybe I'll be the peace master general for this show. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going down that path. With so many stories of success and all the different people you've roasted and, doing the TV shows and the ones that have all gone viral, the one with the inmates, everyone talking about all the fun things that you've done. Was there ever anybody who didn't respond well?
I'm very careful, Bill, to vet, to make sure people volunteer. Like with roasting, you want them in on it. Consent is the most important part of it. It's fun when they're in on it, when they want it, when they're like, bring it, Jeff, go hard and roast me. And that part of it, when they're in on it, it lights it up because then they're laughing too. So as far as people not digging it, not getting it, that doesn't really happen because I work too hard to make sure that they're down. And by the way, they get a rebuttal at the end of the roast. So they're earning their hits. They're taking those hits, then earning that rebuttal, that comeback at the end, which for most roasts, I remember Joan Rivers, her rebuttal was the funniest thing on the whole show. She schooled everybody, Then you have other people I roasted like Flava Flav, who was having so much fun. He was just kicking his feet up and laughing the whole time. And Justin Bieber, he was the one person who called me. It was his idea to get roasted. People have been talking about the great Bruce Willis a lot lately. And when I roasted Bruce a few years back, he would call me for the month leading up to the roast every day, every other day with some new thing that he thought I should mention. He's like, don't forget, I stutter. Don't forget that, about this bomb movie I made in the 80s. He's like, Jeff, we're both Jersey boys. If you go easy on me, my friends are going to never let me live it down. And if somebody's so made, like Bruce Willis, like what, he's just going like this afterwards. Those jokes don't hurt, especially when you go back to your private jet, your big mansion.
Yeah. It's a valid point. Like you could insult me too if I was worth $100 million, something like that. You say whatever you want.
Someday, Bill, trust the process.
Yeah. Coming up, nobody is spared when the roast master rolls into town. Nobody.
I see those Philly fanatic eyebrows on you, Bill. I see them. Oh, you weren't ready for that, were you?
March 17th and 18th, you're at Punchline Comedy Club here in Philly. We know about the roasting, but tell us what we can expect. Who needs to come? Bring your thick skin. What's going on?
I'm going to do something more personal than I've ever done. I've been talking about life and death. It's not depressing. It's a celebration. I lost Bob Saget and Gilbert Gottfried this year, 2 of my besties. And I'll start there. And it kind of goes deep. And if you've had a rough week, if you've had a rough year, I think you'll find my show uplifting and cathartic and a release of tension. And then just when it hits the peak, I'll put the lights up and I'll have volunteers come on and get roasted.
I feel like I'm missing out on you not knowing me well enough for me to get roasted. Like I've got the roast master general and I'm not going to get it.
I see you, Don Expired Lemon. I see you. I see those Philly fanatic eyebrows on you, Bill. I see them.
So you can see me a little bit through this camera.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that you were getting a close enough look.
Oh, you weren't ready for that, were you?
Our last thing is use your voice for good. That's the theme of this show. But it sounds like that's the foundation of what you do, even as the roast master general. What does use your voice for good mean to you?
I'll give you an example. And, you know, I talk about these roasts. I had a guy wobble on stage recently. You know, I said, come up, volunteers. Who wants to come up? And this guy wobbled on stage. I thought he was drunk, but it turns out he had one leg. I was like, this is different. Am I going to make fun of this guy with one leg in front of all these people? So I had to save him for last. And by then I was like, stop faking. Come on, let me see this leg. And I made him show it. And I was like, is that my mic stand? What are you even got in there with that thing? And he's like telling me about his motorcycle accident. And I said, bro, you got thick skin. Unfortunately, you left some of it on the highway. And this guy is falling over laughing. He probably would have been falling over anyway with one leg, but he was falling over laughing. And his friends were bugging out. Like, I took something that maybe he was stigmatized and normalized it for him. Instead of laughing at him, people were laughing with him. He was volunteering. He was in on it. He had jokes and a story to tell his buddies the next day at work. So to me, that's how I use my voice for good.
So he's just going to insult my eyebrows, right? Just going to call me out on my own show. I have fun today. I generally enjoy the interaction, but Jeff Ross was another one of those people who surprised me with the depth of knowledge and understanding and compassion, and how somebody who's the Roastmaster General cares so deeply about the people that he's actually roasting, and charity and so much more. I had a good time. I hope you did as well. Remember that you can get the whole interview all places that podcasts are available. Just subscribe to The Pulse with Bill Anderson. Click subscribe. You'll get a notification every Monday. And I leave you, as I always do, reminding you whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.